Hello and welcome back on my YouTube channel. Today I am going to work on the face of the miniature of my current project, Baia Blue. This is going to be the most important video of my YouTube channel so far, because the face is the first element of the miniature you're going to look at after having a general view of the miniature and approaching it. And it is the part of the miniature which is going to transport the most emotion. This is the reason why I am going to be much more precise on the face than on other elements of the miniature. It starts with the use of a much finer brush. So here, for example, we are using a 02 brush for this blending, and we are doing very soft transitions with a very thin paint on the different elements. I start with the final blending of the face. In the first blending stage, I made a rough blending of the face to set the light, but then I realized that this blending was a little bit too far in the face. So before the start of the video, I started with reworking the shadowy area, and now I am setting new lights a bit more on the right corner of the face. I am setting shadows first and then working on the transition, just like we did on the shoulder in the last video, but of course on much smaller areas with a finer brush and an even higher level of precision. I mixed my skin tones with some darker brown for the lower part of the face where the corner of the mouth is creating a shadow. And I mixed it as well with some reddish colors on the cheeks, close to the ears and on the nose, because even if this lady is let's say Italian style girl with a darker skin, she still has some reddish areas like the nose, like the cheeks, where especially ladies used to have a little bit reddish skin tone, and yeah, this is, to me at least, very charming. I am applying multiple layers of very thin paint of the lightest skin tone, either with a stripe technique or with a point technique, to have the smoothest possible blending. this miniature, the light is going to come from a hand-painted background with a sunset, where the sun is going to shine on the lower right part of the miniature. So we are not applying zenithal light because of that. We are applying a light clearly coming from the right corner. I am now working on the final steps of the transition between the skin and the shadow. And this is where the level of precision is the highest, because a few micrometer can make the difference between a successful and a bad transition. I must say that this is the part of the process which I appreciate the most, because this is where it makes really the difference. You can work on very small areas, like just next to the mouth, the part which I am going to do next, and this really makes the difference at the end. By the way, don't ask me why the video now has much whiter colors than previously. I used the exact same objective and the same camera. It's a Canon R10 with a Sigma macro objective. I'm still learning how to use it. It is totally new for me. So if you have some tips, or if some of you guys are experts in camera and macro objective, maybe you can help me and tell me how I can make sure that the lights, so white balance is always the same in a video. I don't know, to be honest. It's the camera doing it from itself. However, this whiter version you see now is much closer to the reality of the miniature than the more yellowish version you saw at the beginning of the video. Now the skin of the face is finished and we are starting working on a very important part, which are the eyes. A lot of people are painting the eyes in painting the white first and then the iris and the pupil. I do the exact opposite. I made a black ground coat of the eyes and now I will start with painting the iris in making a circle around the future pupil. I start with making an inner blending of the iris. I want this lady to have golden eyes because I think it's going to match perfectly with the sunset. So I am working on this gold blending inside of the eye first. Now the iris is finished, and one very important point of painting the eye is to set a reflection point on the corner of the iris. So this reflection point is going to go down to the pupil, cross the iris, and even maybe goes a little bit to the white. This is very important because with this reflection point, the eyes are going to look wet and alive. Once the pupil and the iris are finished, I start to work on the white of the eyes. And this is where the magic comes because now I am leaving a black corner around the iris. And this is giving this lady a very deep and profound glance. When I work on the white of the eye, I'm not really using white. It's a mix between red and white with a blending on the right in the corner of the eye in order to look natural. And on the side, which is not exposed to the light, I am even using a little bit of blue in order to make sure that the sun exposition of both eyes is not exactly the same, which wouldn't match with the blending. Once the eyes are finished, I am painting the eyebrows, and here I'm taking a very big care that both eyebrows are symmetric to each other and look natural. The next step is going to be the painting of the lips. I am applying a dark red on the upper and the lower part of the lips first, before I concentrate my efforts on the lower part of the lips. I am building a red blending and then applying a light reflex in several steps on the lower parts of the lip on the right corner in order for the lips to match the source of the light of the rest of the miniature. One very important point about the lips, which I realized during my last project, is that the lips shouldn't have a strict and hard limit to the skin. When you look at the lips of the real person, then you will see that the skin is going a little bit in the lips and there is a kind of blending between the skin and the lips. It's a very small one, but it makes a big difference if you reproduce it on the miniature, because then even the lips are dark, like with our Italian girl. You will have a better transition and it looks much more natural than if you put a hard corner or a hard limit between the lips and the skin. Now the face is almost finished. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.